My cookies and cream fudge with 3 ingredients recipe is easy and delicious. With a can of sweetened condensed milk and a few other things and a couple of minutes in the microwave, you can make an amazing dessert. Let's go over the ingredients. You will need 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, 1 11-ounce bag of white chocolate chips, 312 grams, and 5 ounces of Oreos, about 140 grams. I'm using 12 cookies. That's what I needed to get to 5 ounces. But if you use another type of chocolate sandwich cookie, which you definitely can, you might need more or fewer. Even though you only need 3 ingredients for this recipe, I'm also going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt to balance out the flavors. And I could add a teaspoon of vanilla, but I'm going to leave it out today. Like I said, this recipe is super easy, and the first step is actually breaking up the cookies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Oreos and I'm going to break them into quarters, and then I'm going to break those quarters in half. So each cookie I'm going to break into about 8 pieces. Like I said, about 8 pieces per cookie. And I'm actually going to put the Oreo bits off to the side so that I can start the main part of the fudge. So all I have to do is empty the sweetened condensed milk into this microwave safe bowl and then add in the white chocolate chips. And now for the white chocolate. Now I'm just going to stir the sweetened condensed milk and the white chocolate together, and then I'm going to put this bowl into the microwave uncovered and melt everything together on high for a total of 2 minutes, stopping every 30 seconds and stirring. So 4 30-second increments. And before I forget, the salt. But before I start microwaving the fudge, I made sure that I had some sort of container, in this case, a loaf pan lined with plastic. I can't believe I almost forgot. Microwave fudge recipes move really quickly. Once everything's melted, it starts to harden really fast. So before you start cooking, I would make sure that you have a loaf pan or an 8x8 casserole dish or something lined with plastic wrap and ready to go, because otherwise you might have some problems. After the first 30-second increment, I took the bowl out of the microwave, and now I am just stirring everything together. After the second increment, so 1 full minute, just stirring again. Notice off to the side here, I have a knife. That is so that I can scrape any sweet condensed milk or white chocolate chips that get stuck to the spoon when I'm done stirring, like this. Just slide it off like this. 1.5 minutes. You can see it's really starting to melt now. After 2 minutes in the microwave, it's done. So 1 final stir. If you are using vanilla extract, I would add it at this point. A lot of people will tell you not to add vanilla extract too early if you're cooking something, because the heat might burn it off. So just to be on the safe side, I would add it now. So now that everything is smooth and melted together, I'm going to add my cookie bits. And now that the cookie bits are mixed in, I am going to pour my fudge into the mold. As you can see, it's already starting to harden, so that's why I emphasized earlier in the video, make sure everything is ready to go before you start, because if not, it's possible that this will harden before you get it into the mold, and that would not be good. The fudge is now in the loaf pan. I tried to smooth it out with the back of my spoon as best as I could, but like I said, it's already starting to harden. Although it's perfectly fine as it is now, I had an idea. I'm going to take about 3 Oreos and I'm just going to put some pieces on top. This is just to add a little more texture and a little more interest so that there's no doubt what this is. Now that I've patted down the cookie bits on top, my fudge is 100% done. I'm going to put this into the refrigerator uncovered for at least 4 hours. I'm not going to have a chance to cut into it now. I'm going to have to wait until tomorrow. So for me, it's probably going to be more like 20 hours, something like that. But at least 4 hours so that it can harden properly.
Although you only need to let your fudge chill for 4 hours, I didn't have time to serve it that day, so I actually let it sit in the refrigerator for a full 24 hours. And when I finally did get a chance to try it, I was really pleased because my cookies and cream fudge with 3 ingredients recipe was a big success because it was absolutely delicious. First of all, the flavor. The name Cookies and Cream definitely is appropriate for this because it tasted like cookies and milk, but in fudge form. The flavor of the Oreos was perfectly balanced with the white chocolate, neither flavor dominating the other. In fact, each flavor complemented the other perfectly in a way that I wasn't expecting. I like Oreos, but they're not my favorite cookie, but they were absolutely fantastic in this fudge. Like I said, everything came together in absolute perfect harmony. Although the flavor was fantastic, what I really liked about this fudge was the texture. The Oreos softened in the fudge because of the heat and the moisture of the white chocolate, but they didn't get mushy or soggy. Instead, they added the perfect bit of crunch and contrast with the creaminess of the white chocolate without being hard and ruining the overall experience. I thought the size of the Oreo chunks was just perfect. They were big enough to put a little bit of Oreo in every bite, but they weren't so small that they fell apart as I was stirring the fudge, and the crumbs didn't get mixed all throughout the white chocolate, turning it more of a gray instead of white. And like I said earlier, I think the extra Oreo chunks on top are optional, but I would still highly recommend them because they added a little more interest, a little more texture, and they leave no doubts as to what this is just by looking at it. Although this was my first time making my cookies and cream fudge with 3 ingredients recipe, I thought it turned out absolutely perfectly. I shared this with a group of people and everyone raved about how amazing it was. Although this recipe is pretty easy and straightforward, I did want to mention a few tips. Probably the most important is making sure that your bowl and spoons are perfectly dry before you start melting the chocolate. Water makes melted chocolate or melting chocolate seize that can turn kind of grainy. The texture is ruined and you'll have to throw it away. So like I said, make sure everything is totally dry. If you decide to add some vanilla extract, do so after you're done microwaving everything, because people will often say that if you add vanilla extract before cooking something, you might cook off some of the flavor. That may or may not be true, but just to err on the side of caution, I would wait. Even though I think some vanilla extract would taste good in this recipe, be aware that if you're using a dark colored extract, it's going to make the white chocolate look more of a cream color. Not necessarily a bad thing, but if you want that nice contrast between a white chocolate fudge and the bits of Oreo, some vanilla extract might not be a good idea. Those tips aside, my cookies and cream fudge with sweetened condensed milk recipe is a super simple one that you, your family, friends, and everyone else will love. It's a perfect dessert for the holidays like Christmas or at any time of the year. If you make it, I know you'll love it. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.